Today on DNVR Buffs Live, the change that Coach Prime in Colorado must make before Wyoming on Saturday. That and much, much more. Let's get it.
Buff Nation,
Let's go.
Squad. Coming to you live from DNVR studio. It's DNVR Buffs Live. Week 4 now underway
Yes, sir.
for the Buffs. Wyoming on the docket for Saturday.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Shout out to
Extra
Taco Bell. Coach Prime Presser today. We also spoke to Tawfiq and DJ. We'll talk some NFL Week 2 takeaways, college football Week 3 takeaways as well in this show. How we doing today, though, boys?
I'm doing just fine and dandy. Just came from the barbershop.
Flo's looking
Fresh.
Taco
Good.
Tuesday.
You know?
Might go to a concert tonight. Trying to make that decision. So, yeah. It's good. It's a good day. How about you?
Can't complain.
Beautiful outside.
I mean, yeah, it was gorgeous in
And
Boulder
that
today.
that starts me off in a good mood. I'm not gonna lie. Got up to Boulder, like you said, heard from Coach Prime, heard from DJ, heard from Tawfiq. We're on to a new week, right? And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how this team, how this program responds after a really ugly loss, because they still got everything in front of them, but some changes have to be made. And I would argue some changes have to be made immediately, and I'm sure we'll get into that in this show.
Yeah, we will discuss the change that needs to happen this week. We'll start with Coach and the pressers.
Let's do it.
Well, quarterback is once again going to be a topic of conversation that really dominates this week. Coach says he knows what he's doing. We'll play the clip here in a second. Actually, can we play the clip now, Alyssa? So here's Coach when he was asked about the quarterbacks and if he knows what the plan he's going to execute on Saturday is.
Leadership and consistency. That's it. That ain't much to ask for, is it? Leadership and consistency. I look for that for everyone. Every man, every woman that's involved in my life, leadership and consistency. I most definitely have. Yeah.
And then as a follow-up to that, don't know what your decision is, but like, as far as Kaidon goes, what is something you need to see from him that you weren't seeing when he was in the starting
I think
role?
I just said a minute ago, leadership, right, is what I want to see from inconsistency from all our guys, not just Kaidon. Leadership and consistency from all of our guys at that position.
So that first question, he was asked what he thinks Kaidon needs to do better when he's in the game, and he said leadership and consistency. Then he was asked if he knew what he was going to do at quarterback, and then about the room in general. So those are the answers there. Thoughts?
I have a thought. It's a little bit of an aside from the direct correlation here. But my thought is that I think we, and I say we as in Buff Nation as a whole, owe a little bit of an apology to Kaidon. And the reason is because we weren't ready for the post-Shador era as a fan base. As much as we wanted to be, as much as we talked about, as much as I specifically talked about it, like it's not going to be the same. Get ready, be prepared for differences. Other quarterbacks just don't complete 80% of their passes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the fan base was ready to see that. And so the collective kind of panic after the loss to Georgia Tech, which is only aging better with time as to the quality of team, what resulted in more quarterback uncertainty, which isn't helping. So I think they're going to go back to Kaidon this week. And I think Kaidon deserves a much longer leash this time around, because what we saw on Saturday is much, much worse than what we saw against a much better team in Georgia Tech.
Totally.
So that's where my head's at today. That's what I kind of woke up feeling. And I think we all agreed that like Kaidon was kind of put in a tough position. He didn't necessarily lose the job. But sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And that's where I am with this quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm kind of at with it is I don't know at this point if it really all matters who's at quarterback, right? If some of the other things around it, some of the ancillary parts don't change. I brought it up yesterday, right? There's been like 4 straight games now with this team, with this offense dating back to the Alamo Bowl, where things just look completely disjointed. And that was with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. And we've seen Shedeur, we've seen Kaidon, we've seen Juju a little bit. We obviously seen Ryan Staub make a start. And it looks eerily different through 4 games, 4 quarterbacks, this offense. And 4 games is not a small sample size at this point in time. It's just not.
33% of a season.
It's exactly right. So again, I agree with you. I think it is going to be Kaidon this week. I think he should be given the opportunity, right, to build on what he might have did in week 1 and kind of flush what's happened the last couple of weeks offensively and for him personally. And I'm excited to see what he does. But there has to be a better plan offensively, right? And I wrote about it this offseason, right, where I was like, Kaidon is a really talented dude, but he's going to need help from his coordinator, from his offensive line, which is playing really well right now, which has the 10th best pass blocking grade in college football right now. He's going to need help from his receivers. He's going to need help from a run game, which at least one guy is averaging 7 yards a carry. There's another guy averaging 5.5 yards a carry. So those 2 parts of the offensive line, the run game, are things that are helping whoever's at quarterback. But I think until there's consistency, within the play call, within the scheme, whoever's at quarterback, whether it's me, you, or Jake, I think would probably struggle a little bit. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. I'm excited to see Kaidon this weekend, assuming he's going to be the guy. But again, we got to see some other things change before we really see this offense operate how it should, and how I'm sure the coaches and the fan base wants it to.
Yeah, I mean, it's Caden's time to get back under center. I mean, he was kind of given a short hand in that Delaware game. I don't think anyone expected Ryan Staub to come in that game and really shake everything up. And that's how we ended up in this situation, really, right? Also, I mean, Coach Prime said it right there. What he was asked directly, what are you looking for more in Kaidon? Leadership and consistency. He laid it out right there, what Kaidon needs to be better at. Obviously, the consistency thing is pretty evident on the field, but it's, the little things. It's, not just everything on the field I think he's looking for from these quarterbacks and from Kaidon. We've been saying that all offseason. That's
what I was going to say.
But I think there's obviously still room for Kaidon to grow in that department, at least in coach's eyes, and that's I don't know. Maybe that's what spurred the decision to put Ryan Staub in the game 2 weeks ago.
I think it was Ryan's done everything right. He's done everything we've asked for him. He does all the little things, whether it's what time he shows up to breakfast and taking notes in the meetings and all that stuff. So like he deserves an opportunity too, and it doesn't surprise me at all that Coach Prime went down that direction. Mm-hmm. I think the way that Ryan played ended up just really throwing a wrench into the gears of everything that was going on.
It did.
And not like that's his fault or anything. He just went out and took advantage of his opportunity.
It did. But it felt like Coach Prime was, now in the benefit of hindsight, feels like last week was just kind of a message to both Kaidon and Julian. Like, for whatever they're doing or not doing, I don't know what it is, but just you got to do more. You got to be better in those 2 departments, consistency and leadership. And hopefully that message has resonated and was heard over the last week. So.
Absolutely. But going back to the point that Scotty was making and Jake, you touched on, it's not going to matter as long as the offense isn't acutely catered to what Kaidon Salter does well. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think had they come out with an entire, and this is what I was crashing out about after the Georgia Tech game.
Yeah.
Had they come out with an entire offseason to design plays to Kaidon Salter's strengths and run a Kaidon Salter offense, they would have beat Georgia Tech. There would have been no quarterback controversy going into week 2.
Yep.
And who knows what would have happened week 3. Obviously, they were physically dominated in that game, but whatever. We'd be talking about a 2-1 football team right now with no questions about who their starting quarterback is.
Yep.
But that didn't happen. And what has happened to give us confidence that will happen?
For sure. And you're talking about this has to look like a Kaidon Salter offense this week if he's the starter. And that's my biggest issue. And I tweeted about it earlier today because I found it fascinating and kind of maddening that back-to-back opposing head coaches, Houston's Willie Fritz last week and Wyoming's head coach this week, basically said similar things when it comes to Colorado's offense. They have an offense. They run it. Whether it's Ryan Staub, whether it's Julian Lewis, whether it's Kaidon Salter, guys who have really different skill sets, particularly obviously Staub and Salter. But, Willie Fritz goes, you look at the plays that were called, I think it's similar between the two quarterbacks. The Wyoming head coach says, I don't know that they alter their offense dramatically. And that's kind of damning. Like I said, when you have two quarterbacks who have very different skill sets, it's damning more so with Kaidon, right? Because you knew for most of the offseason, you had a good idea that he was probably going to be your week 1 starter. You had an entire offseason to alter your offense from what it was last year, to cater it to him and his skill sets. And I think back to what I talked about week 1, that Georgia Tech game, right? Colorado gets the ball, tie game at 20 with about 5 minutes left on the clock. And they run three passes, out of 4 or 5 plays and have to punt the ball back, give it back to Georgia Tech with 3.5 minutes left, and they go down and score. Like, in that moment, Pat Shurmur was calling the offense like Shedeur was still his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't. It's Kaidon Salter. Like, it has to look like a Kaidon Salter offense. And until I think we see plays called that cater to not just Kaidon, but the entire offense is what they do best, I think, like I said, whoever's on their center is going to struggle. And that's just something that has to be addressed.
Well, and we talked about, one of the big criticisms of Kaidon after week 1 was not taking off when it was there for him.
Yes.
How many designed runs were called for Kaidon Salter? Why, take the decision out of his hands. Just tell him, hey, Kaidon, go be an athlete. You watched Georgia Tech in that game. You watched Georgia Tech against Clemson. When the game's on the line, they put the ball in their quarterback's hands and say, go be an athlete.
Yes.
Go do what you do. And, Kaidon Salter's not going to be the battering ram that Haynes King is, where you just, run power up the middle and he bowls forward for 4 or 5 yards. But it'd be nice to have a couple things in the back pocket to say, okay, we need one here. Like, spread them out, go 5 wide, and then run QB draw. We just didn't see any of that stuff. We didn't, we've talked about it enough, but it'd be nice to have them call some plays to just have Kaidon move forward.
Yeah.
Yep, totally. All right, let's take our first break, and then we'll get back to what coach and the players had to say today. And shout out to our friends over at Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers. This month it is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Prostate cancer affects 1 in 8 men, but it's highly treatable when caught early. So here's the challenge: if you're 50 years or older or younger with a family history, make sure you get screened. Then be a good teammate. Check in with your buddies. Text the group chat. Bring it up at the golf outing or over coffee. Just take care of your friends, man. Take care of your family, and take care of yourself and your health. I shouldn't even really need to say this. I mean, we got the all the notice that we needed from Coach Prime earlier this offseason, but shout out to our friends over at Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers and for getting the word out for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Head on over to RockyMountainCancerCenters.com to learn more. Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers, your courage, our expertise.
Also, shout out to our friends at Toyota. My ad isn't loading. That doesn't even matter because I don't need to talk about Toyota. Best in the business when it comes to your car on the road. It's crazy the difference you'll start to feel towards your car when you have confidence in its ability to operate at a high level.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I spent most of my life rocking with cars that once every couple months it was something. There's making a weird sound. The brakes don't feel right. The blinker isn't working. Just something always. The steering's off, and I just never have that situation with my Toyota. Never. And it's an unbelievable peace of mind to have. So if you are like I was, and you're tired of your car having something wrong with it all the time, go visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. Shout out to our friends over at Toyota. They are the best in the business.
Facts, yes, they are.
Squad.
All right. Let's talk more about today's press conferences. Identity was a big theme today. We've obviously been talking about it for feels like forever, but about 2 weeks now about this offense's identity, this team's identity overall. Here's Tawfiq Byard, who, he's speaking about the defensive identity. Obviously, they got completely gashed by the QB run again last weekend. And Coach Prime was asked about it, or you asked him actually about it on the offensive side. So here they are.
I'll say a little bit as far as identity, but I think for the most part, it's just little stuff they're messing on, missing tackles, guys not being in the right gap and stuff like that. So as far as identity, you could say it. We haven't found our identity, but within the team, we just got to clean up the little stuff. It's nothing major. It's everything that we're doing self-inflicting.
You don't want to say what things should be. I mean, because that just gets you upset when you walk out of here, what things should be. I should be probably 5 pounds heavier right now, but, I had the little setbacks. We're getting there, and we're going to get there within the next maybe Saturday, maybe a couple games after that, but we're going to get there with the consistency that we desire. I can see it. We're going to get there.
So just starting with Tawfiq first. I mean, they did not tackle well on Friday at all.
He did. They didn't.
Well,
Yeah,
of course.
For sure.
But he mentioned that too. I mean, it's like, I do think this defense, not all hope is lost on this defense. I do think they could be better on the personnel side at multiple positions for sure, but that's not an option right now.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of good football players on that defense still. I do think they just need to fine tune. They need to, Tawfiq's back. We'll get more to what kept him out, from starting some games here later on as well. But it just feels like they're kind of settling in. Alex McPherson, London Merritt are starting to emerge. Like, again, we talked about this yesterday, like what do we call it? The playoff lineup, whatever. Playoff rotation. Like that's still being set. And I think that, obviously we're one step closer after Friday, but we'll be another step closer on Saturday.
Yeah, I think they're just still trying to figure out who their guys are. And I think you were just alluding to it there. They are playing a bit of a musical chairs, particularly in the back end, right? We expected a good rotation up front with the defensive line on the interior and on the edge, but it seems like they're still trying to figure out the right rotation at linebacker. They're obviously rotating a ton in the secondary as well, particularly at safety. So I think until they figure out, because I think particularly at safety, it should be Tawfiq and Ben. Those should be your guys, I think, moving forward here, at least taking the majority of snaps at safety. But I think until they find a couple of guys at linebacker that they really fully trust and can really bring some consistency to this run defense, because that's really what it's about. They haven't missing tackles, but a lot of time they've just been out of alignment and not assignment sound. And a lot of the time, that linebacker is the one who kind of sets the tone in that aspect. That's what we saw a lot from Nakai last year, Levante, and maybe a little lesser extent. But they're still rotating Jeremiah and Sean, and obviously Reggie and Martavius are still in the mix as well. So I think that's a big reason why this defense isn't playing up to the level that I expected them to preseason, is that second level of the defense is still trying to figure things out. And until they get some consistency there, it might be a little bit trouble.
Are we going to get to the identity crisis? Or is that it?
That's it.
Okay. You can go into it.
I apologize, because normally I'm very rosy during the week, and then sometimes I crash out after the game. And I'm not going to crash out right now, but I'm going to say this. Usually when we hear from Coach Prime during the week, I leave that media opportunity feeling like, okay, we got this.
Invigorated almost.
Invigorated, exactly. And part of it, I think, is because Coach Prime is maybe being honest, but he doesn't have the answers to what this team's identity is.
No.
And if he did, it's probably a 15-minute long answer on what's actually going on too.
For sure, but I'm just saying, like, this is the problem. The problem is that
Yeah.
the team doesn't have an identity.
Exactly.
And he doesn't want to sit up there and like make something up about what their identity is. So that's kind of why he said what he said. It was just like, oh, what is it? What blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't make me feel better. I feel worse today. And I think where the team's identity has to go is they have to become elite at running the football. And you have a running quarterback, well, a dual threat quarterback who can throw and can run.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some running backs who are off to a really hot start this season. You have the best left tackle in college football, and you got some really big guys next to him.
Mm-hmm.
If they are going to be, if they're going to get anywhere near their goals this year, that is the way forward.
Yep.
You know, like we love the wide receivers. And it was kind of a bummer to not see them get involved at all in week one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we ended up, honestly, where we are today. Is because everyone's like, get these guys involved. What's going on? And then
For
Staub
sure.
threw up some bombs, and we were like, okay, this guy can do it. You know, obviously the Juju option still exists if that's the route that you want to go down. But based on everything we've seen so far, this team's the flashes that we've seen, the best thing that they have going for them is an ability to run the ball. They're going to have to lean into making that their identity. I said after the game, it's not easy to just go from being a passing team to a running team overnight.
Yeah.
And I think you still have habits as a play caller, as an offense, that say, like, when we're in a bind, I want to throw our way out of it. You have to erase that. This team has to move. If they're going to have an identity, the identity is running the football. They got to try and lean all the way into that and live with the bumps and bruises that come with it.
Yeah, Smoggles had a comment, if you could scroll up, Alyssa, and the coach actually talked about this today. He was kind of asked about this directly. Smoggles says, hard to have an identity when you're losing. And that's true too, because take the Broncos game, for example, right? If they don't have that penalty and that the kick isn't moved up and the kick's not made, like the conversation is totally different. Right?
Totally. I mean,
Like we're not talking about the J.K. Dobbins penalty. We're not talking about leaping. We're not talking about Bo throwing the pick. We're talking about Troy Franklin looked great. He broke out.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins looked great. This defense, you know, they let Danny Dimes do all this, but the
bounced
flashes
back.
were still there. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just how the reality of football sometimes. Like if they won the GT game, it was, you know, yeah, Kaidon missed a couple passes, but man, they were really looking good and versatile with him in there. Like, and it's true. Like these games, when you lose them, it does totally change the outlook, the conversation. And Coach Prime was talking about that. He said, you know, he was asked, you know, basically does identity precede like winning football or something like along those lines? And he's just like, everyone was just trying to win. Brian Kelly, he went crazy on a reporter today, on Saturday after the game, because he wanted to ask about, you know, why can't you run the football and all this stuff? And he's like, well, we won the game. Like, and that's a whole kind of a different thing where, you know, Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly and he didn't watch the film and
he's
all
a
that.
douche.
But like at the same point, I get where he's coming from, where it's like, you know, the main goal is to go win. Like,
yeah.
and we're going to do that however it looks, and we'll kind of dissect and, you know, pick apart whatever we have to after the fact.
And it is true, not to get down that whole road, but like it is true that sometimes in a game, the way that the game is going forces you to be more conservative on offense because you know that your defense and special teams are dominating the game. But that's an LSU question. We're talking Buffs.
What a comment here by TZ, though. He goes, honestly, we do have an identity, and everyone uses it every week to beat us. And, right, that's what we talk about. This defense having struggles stopping the run, stopping quarterback run. And we're talking about, I mean, I mentioned it, I thought the identity should be going into week one, going to Georgia Tech. This should be a run-first team. You use play action off of it, something that Kaidon is elite at doing. You take deep shots off of it, something that Kaidon is elite at doing. And when we're talking about this identity for this Colorado football team, it's not like we're asking them to do something that they're not capable of doing. Like they don't have the pieces to do. This team has the pieces to be a run-heavy, run-first team. They have a really good offensive line through 3 weeks. They have at least 3 really good running backs. They have a dual-threat quarterback who can be a problem not only in scrambling and extending plays off script, but also the design run stuff. Like this offense has all the pieces to lean into the identity that this offense should have. And I just don't know what it's going to take for it to be put together for 4 full quarters and for a full game. But that's just what we have to see. And like I said, I think they have the talent. They have the personnel to execute what we're all talking about up here. But until we see evidence of it on Saturdays or on Fridays in some case, it's really not going to matter at all.
All right, let's hear from Tawfiq. He spoke about his performance against Houston. Again, he balled out, led the team in tackles, didn't even start the game, but he kind of spoke on why he wasn't playing as much the first 3 games, and then also just his relationship with Cam, Silman, Craig, and the responsibility he has. After we do that, we'll talk about what needs to change for Colorado this week. Go ahead, Alyssa.
You know, it's never a good feeling when you lose, whether if you have a good game or not. But, you know, it felt good going back out there. You know, I've been dealing with an injury. You know, I got hurt the scrimmage before the first game. So, you know, I kind of have been, you know, like on the scout team. So it just felt good, you know, finally get back out there on the field and do what I love to do. Just the mental part, you know, it's hard not being out there, especially when you want to be out there for your guys and stuff like that. So just being mentally ready, you know, you got to prepare like you're a starter, even if you're not starting. You know, going through that whole process, you know, taking mental reps, you know, because if you're not with the first team, you're not going to get a lot of those in practice live reps. So just being mentally ready, staying ready, even though just being ready for my numbers card. Yeah, we talk social media and through text. You know, he's on me all the time. He'll watch the practices and say, "Oh, why are you not first in drills? Or why are you not first in conditioning?" So, you know, he just has that leadership, even when he's not here, just trying to hold me accountable because he know the position I'm in. I'm in his number. I'm in his spot. So, you know, I have to take on that role, and that's something I don't take on lightly.
He was hurt.
Yeah.
We try to tell people.
He was an exciting bright spot.
Mm-hmm.
Between him and Alexander McPherson, you know, you had 2 guys kind of pop on defense that was like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go. We got a little something here. But as I was watching that defense on Saturday night, I was thinking about a guy like Cam Silman Craig, who was just like not only going to probably make up for some mistakes up front by making some open field tackles, but also just like lead and bring a fiery presence to the football field. I mean, Jake, from the first time we saw a practice, he stood out to us of just being a vocal leader and kind of, you know, that's actually part of having an identity too.
Yeah.
Is having players that you can get behind and, you know, have lead you on the field. So love what I saw from Tawfiq. Would love to see someone take on that role too. I don't know if it's him or someone else, but take on the role of being the fiery presence out there on the field on Saturdays.
I love
or Fridays, like have 2-3 more games.
Right.
Well, hopefully we're done with that.
I love how the end there when Tawfiq was just talking about how Cam, you know, stays on him, even from down there in Jacksonville, texting his phone, watching his phone. Why are you not first in the line? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? Because, you know, Tawfiq said it there, like, I'm in his number. I'm in his position. Like, and I don't take that lightly because, again, if you after Shedeur and Travis last year, I would argue Cam was arguably the most important player to that team. Maybe right next to LeJontay Wester, because of the things you talk about, the leadership, the fiery, you know, kind of temperament on the field to get all your teammates rolling in the same direction. And I think I see a lot of that stuff in Tawfiq. Although he is, you know, still just a redshirt sophomore, which is crazy to think about. He's still a relatively young guy, but it was dope to see him get the majority of snaps. He played 59 snaps against Houston on Friday after only playing 17 against Delaware. So he obviously made his case as somebody who needs to be on the field damn near every time this Colorado defense.
I think he just made his case that he's healthy and ready to roll now, honestly.
He's one of the best players on this team,
I mean, clearly,
in my opinion.
We saw it in the spring game. Like,
exactly.
Nothing changed between then and now. Like, he was hurt.
Yeah. What's interesting, I think that what did change is that Ben filled in for him and showed that he can be an asset to this defense. And I honestly think you just go with those two at safety moving forward.
Yep.
And I think that's half of it, right? Because I think while him being hurt did impact some things, he played 34 snaps in week 1 against Georgia Tech. So he was on the field a good amount, but clearly not enough to get what he should be getting in terms of reps and opportunities. And I think what we saw on Friday is more indicative of what we'll see moving forward.
Totally. All right, let's take our next break.
Y'all know what day it is, right?
Taco
Tuesday. And there's no better place to celebrate than with our friends over at Taco Bell, man. Because that decades menu at Taco Bell, it's back. And let me tell you, it's fire. We just tried it before the show. This time, this decades menu is focused on that crazy time period, Y2K. Y'all remember that, right? I certainly do, fondly, if I might add. If you or a loved one experienced emotional distress due to slow internet 25 years ago, Taco Bell believes you're entitled to a delicious escape. You can
have
do
no
that.
idea, bro.
You really don't.
I really don't. Actually, I ain't even gonna lie. But you can get on this Decades Y2K menu the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos, the Caramel Ampo Empanada, the Chili Cheese Burrito, 7-layer burrito, or the Double Decker Taco, all for just $3 or less. And don't forget, you can add on a $7 Buffs box with 4 Taco Bell classics and that collectible CU Player Cup featuring either Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, Jalen Miller, or Quentin Gibson. And we have to shout out Taco Bell because every time CU scores a touchdown this year, Taco Bell will help support CU Athletics with a $1,000 donation to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Fund. So Sco Buffs and Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Shout out to Taco Bell.
And also shout out to our friends over at Bet365, my favorite book to bet on when it's football season because of the early money line payouts. If your team goes up 17 points or more at any point in the football game, that's it. They're going to cash you out, deposit that money directly into your account, even if the opposing team comes all the way back and wins the football game. Bet365 also is going to have some bonuses and all sorts of stuff going on Sundays for SGP Sundays with the NFL. Also check out this Thursday night with their Thursday night touchdown bets and offers that will be available. MLB is still going on, but get those futures in for NBA, NHL if that's your thing. And right now, new customers can get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, and then place a bet of only $5. You'll get $300 in bonus bets once that bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Scotty, do you know what this sound is?
Oh, he's not going to have any idea. It's like you're on the dial-up internet from...
Ain't that like a fax machine or something? I mean, that kind of sounds familiar. It sounds like early 2000s. That's what that sounds like. What is that?
That is the sound you used to hear when you wanted to connect to the internet.
That's literally the computer connecting to the internet. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember when you'd load a web page and you just see it slowly, just
one pixel at a
just
time,
filling out the page?
Yeah, I thought that was a damn fax machine. So. That's crazy.
We do have one more thing to talk about from today's pressers. But let's discuss the change that must happen this week.
Yes.
And it has to do with the time that these next two games are being played at.
I think it has to do a couple different things for me, right? Well, my change that I need to see with this football team is the way they practice. And it's a couple different things, right? This team needs to start fast. That's evident. That was the first thing that DJ McKinney said today when he stepped up on the podium when he was asked about Wyoming. He goes, we need to start fast, right? They didn't exactly have a fast start offensively. And I guess they scored on the opening drive after the turnover. But after that, it was punt. It was punt. They didn't reach the end zone again until the fourth quarter against Georgia Tech. They were going to go into halftime against Delaware up only 10-0. And obviously there was a crazy slow start in week 3. That has to be addressed, and I think that has to start in practice. And I think it was Coach Prime who alluded to it today, or maybe even I think it was Tawfiq, where he was like, they started today with a competition to start the practice, right? 1st and 10, 2 plays, 2nd and short, 2 plays, 1s-on-1s. And I think that's what they need, is find out ways to start these games with a sense of urgency. Especially when you don't have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter to fall back on late in games. You need to be able to start fast on both sides of the ball. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more competition at the beginning of practice and more of an emphasis on starting fast, not only in practice, because that carries over. Another thing Coach Prime said to do, he was like, sorry, Pops, my fault. But Coach Prime said today that was like, our first practice of the week is always our worst practice of the week. Mm-hmm. And that kind of makes sense, right? You're coming off the weekend, but that stuff translates into the game. If you start the week slow, you're going to start game slow. Yeah. And again, that's something that needs to be addressed. And the other thing, right, what you alluded to, these next 2 games are at night. They're at 8:15 at night. This is a morning practice team. They have been since Coach Prime got there. They need to figure out ways to maybe not every day throughout the week, but at least twice throughout the week, practice at night, because that's a different thing when you have to wait around all day, for 6 o'clock, for a 7, 8 o'clock, kickoff. And it's different from what you're doing Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, when you're getting up and you're getting to it right away.
Yeah, no, they're going to bed at like the time the game is kicking off almost. Basically.
Exactly right. So those are the two changes that I think we need to see when it comes to practice. And I think they're not massive changes, right? But I think they can make a massive difference as to how we see this team perform on Saturdays or Fridays.
Yeah. Another thing, I mean, that who was it? DJ? Or I know Coach talked about it, but accountability was another word that came up today, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're
Coach
already
Prime
starting.
and DJ mentioned that. Yeah.
We're starting to see that though, because Coach Prime also mentioned today for practice, like usually the guys who play 60% of the game, you kind of get the day off, right? Like, I mean, you just played 60% of a football game. You took some hits the day after the game, right?
Yeah.
Not today, the day after the game, that practice. He said the defense all showed up in pads, and a lot of them played a lot of the game, obviously. I mean, the whole defense showed up in pads. And they were seemingly taking accountability for the bad tackling and for allowing all those rushing yards and just the dreadful performance they put on the field Friday night in Houston. So there are some signs that we've heard and, that the coaches have talked about already, after Friday that are pretty encouraging to me. It's just about, continuing. And again, look, this is a 2-week thing here. Like, this doesn't go away after Saturday once you play this football game. You got to relock in and basically execute the same type of preparation and game plan in terms of your timing, your schedule when you go to bed and all that, because you got 2 straight A-15 games. Like, this is just your life for the next 2 weeks.
I feel like it's going to be their life past BYU, too.
I mean, totally. I wouldn't be surprised if they get another one.
If
totally.
TCU or Iowa State were at night, nobody would be surprised. Kansas State late in the season, nobody would be surprised if those were late night games either.
And the thing is, like, the networks love putting Colorado late because they know people will stay up for it.
Of course.
Exactly.
And if you put in, even like Iowa State and Kansas, you're just going to lose a whole lot of people that you wouldn't lose if you get Colorado. Colorado's on, people want to watch. And they're going to keep putting Colorado in that slot. It's just going to keep happening. So, we have to develop a plan.
Yeah.
And like, we talked about it on Friday night, but like the energy of the team was not there.
No, they did not want to be there.
And it just looking back on it probably has to do a little bit of something with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, every time there's an 8 p.m. game, we have, everyone say, oh God, it's so late. Like, because most of these people have to wake up early for their jobs and they're used to going to bed around 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so this team, obviously they're college kids and like,
sure.
I remember being in college in my first semester, I had an 8 a.m. Never did that again, but like didn't stop me from going out until 2. So they're, a little bit more built for it, but we have to do anything and everything we can to have them have energy out there. And like, that's the other thing is I want to see energy across the board. Whether that's in practice, whether that's going out onto the field. Another thing we talked about Friday night, but it's worth repeating, is like this team feels like they've lost a little bit of their swagger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually can be a part of an identity.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like it definitely was the last 2 years. Swagger was a part of the identity of this football team. It's lacking a little bit right now. So someone's got to, bring it back.
Last thing on this too, I'm just getting sick of all the excuses for the game times being late in the Fridays. Like this is year 3 now of this. Like, I'm sorry, we should kind of, after this 2-week stretch, this should be figured out. You should have a blueprint for 8-15 games now moving forward, in terms of how you approach them, how you practice, how you schedule everything. Like it just, you can't keep going on like this. Like the first year, totally sure. Like second year even. Whatever. But now, like, you're almost up to, you're going to get up there now, close to double-digit games played at this time slot over the last 3 years. Like, it's just part of what you do now. I mean, you just have to face the facts that you're Colorado, this is your coach, and this is how it's going to be.
And you don't have any control over it,
Totally.
So it's not like you can just beg and plead and get your way. In fact, that was already tried, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
The consolation we got for begging and pleading was Delaware at 1:30.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just have to accept it.
True.
Your coach's name is Primetime,
Yeah.
or at least was.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Coach Prime, which Short for prime
Doesn't change
time.
the fact, yeah.
They want to put him in prime time. And why wouldn't they?
Totally. Last thing, here's Coach Prime just talking about what he's seen from Wyoming and what the challenge will be this Saturday.
They're physical up front. I feel like offensive line and defensive line, these guys are physical up front. They coach well, man. I know that's a cliche, but they really are coached well. They're not going to make a lot of mistakes. I don't think they're going to beat themselves. You're going to have to beat them. They're really coached well. And these guys want to win. You got to understand, when you're playing against us, that's, not that we're all that, but it's a chip. You want to, you're going to be on television. You're going to get a chance to shine in front of a national audience, and you want to dominate us. That's the thing. And we just got to be prepared for that thought process.
That just made me think about a conversation I was having with somebody in Houston this weekend. And they were talking about, obviously, the last 2 years, and we talk about it quite a bit on the show, like when teams play Colorado, they're coming with something extra. They really want to beat Colorado and
Every
beat
time.
Coach Prime on prime time. And, the
They really
element,
wanted to beat Shador.
I was going to say the added element of Shador and Travis being on the field too, like only added to that. And those two guys in particular, they knew that was the case and they consistently rose to the occasion. I feel like this year teams still really want to beat Colorado. And because Coach Prime is still there, because they're on national TV, they're in prime time a lot. And I just don't know if this team realizes that, right? It's not like you're not just playing a team who are trying to win the
team
game.
that you saw on tape.
Yeah, exactly. They're not playing the team that you saw on tape.
Yeah.
You're going to see an added element of that team because, like I said, they're trying their hardest. They might not get a national TV game. I don't know if Houston is going to have a standalone kind of 6:30 on a Friday night the rest of the year.
Nope.
Everybody was watching that game. Who cares about college football for the most part? And they wanted to show out, and they sure did.
Yep.
And I don't know if this Colorado team, at least right now, is ready to meet that moment every single week. It's not just about beating your opponent by doing what they do best. You got to beat them at even their next best level up. You know what I'm saying? And
True.
I think
Great
that's
point.
just another thing that, like I said, when I was hearing Coach Prime talk about that, he was like, listen, they're well coached, but what we see on, I think you said it well too, like what we see on film, we're going to see a different, better version of that every single week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those guys are, there's multiple players on that team who are from Colorado. They're right, 2.5 hours away from where we are now. Obviously, like Colorado State is their biggest rival, but you don't think that they want to come down to Colorado and get a win and, they're going to be a standalone game on or close to it
Yep.
on ESPN.
I'm sure there's a handful of those guys. Colorado didn't offer me.
Yeah.
They weren't interested in me.
Dozens.
Yep.
So, yeah, you have to be prepared for that every single week. They're going to find an extra layer of motivation. And honestly, you need to do the same.
Exactly.
You have to do, and like that's something that I think Shador was elite at.
Hell
and
yeah.
he embraced it. I mean, he's the one who said it, and everyone was mad about it, but he was right. He was the
he
first one to
set the
say,
tone.
every
Yes.
game, we are
Every
everyone's
game.
Super Bowl.
Yes.
And he like embraced that, and he leaned into it, and he knew how bad the other team wanted it.
He didn't have to beef with Brayton Fowler, Nicolosi, Shador up here and BFN down here.
Yeah.
But he did it, I think, partly because he had to fire up the rest of the team. Like, no, they're trying to kill us and make an example out of us, and we can't go for that. And that's maybe also, too, what Coach Prime is talking about, where he's like, the leadership. That's what I'm looking for in my quarterback. The leadership, the consistency, week in and week out.
No, you need a commander to lead you in a battle. That's what you need.
Period,
They don't
bro.
have that right now.
They don't. But
I mean, I don't know if it's C or maybe Tawfiq or someone. Like, I don't know. Someone's got to step up though.
And that too, like, C can be as good of a leader as he wants to be, and he is a damn good leader. Tawfiq can be as good as a leader as he wants to be. You need a quarterback you need your
Yes,
quarterback
it's
to be that
different.
guy.
Yes.
It's different when the quarterback is the what's the word I'm looking for?
Unquestioned,
Unquestioned
undisputed.
leader. Thank you.
Yeah.
Unquestioned leader. Like that's what you need. You need other leaders at other positions, and I think this team has that. But until you have the leader from the player perspective, a lot of guys are just going to be looking around. And that was a crazy lightning strike I just
That's
saw.
what that sound was too.
This is
No, it's
crazy.
thunder. It's a thunderstorm right
But
now.
yeah.
Wild.
All right.
Dark as hell.
That's
out there.
it from today's press conferences. We'll do takeaways on week three of college football and week 2 of the NFL. But first, a word from our friends over at Taco Bell, or I guess us on Taco Tuesday.
Our friends,
Taco
it's us.
Tuesday. We're rolling along with the Y2K Decades menu. I've got a chili cheese burrito here. Looks like we've got some Cool Ranch Doritos logos.
I've been waiting to try this one right here. I've only had the nacho cheese one. That's cool.
I'm excited to hear about it. Let me get into this.
Take all the hot sauce, bro.
No, I think there's some others.
Chili cheese burrito's a hit.
Ooh.
What'd you have?
What, the taco?
Yeah.
What do you think about
Just
that?
the Cool Ranch Doritos logos taco. This one's fire, bro.
Let me try.
I love how the shell gets a little soft because of the meat, bro, but it's still got that crunch to it, you feel me? What a smacker.
Fire. And then, of course, for dessert, once we're done here, we got the caramel apple empanada, the GOAT of Taco Bell dessert. Maybe the GOAT of all fast food dessert of all time.
I haven't had a Cool Ranch Locos Taco in like 15 years, it feels like.
It's my first one ever, bro.
It might be the GOAT of the Locos Tacos.
I gotta try this new burrito.
Shout out Taco Bell. Happy Taco Tuesday, everyone. Celebrate responsibly.
Shout out Taco Bell for hooking us up
Squad.
again on Tuesday, man. Delicious as always.
See our guy, I think is Byard up there, who said, I'm on the 56th floor downtown. Yeah, or Bird Beat.
Yeah.
I'm on the 56th floor downtown, just jumped out of my seat.
No.
Yeah,
was
that was
crazy.
loud.
Slight flex. 56th floor downtown. I see you, Bird B.
There's only a couple buildings that could
Right.
be.
Yep. All right. College football, we'll start with this. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but it was already technically Bloody Sunday, I guess. We had Brent Pry and Deshaun Foster both fired after getting off to 0-3 starts.
Never heard of Brent Pry until he was fired.
Obviously, the portal's now open for those guys on those teams, but I would not expect any of those guys to really leave, and I don't think you can leave and play for another team. It'd be about conserving eligibility. Obviously, those teams are 0-3, so red shirts are still available if they have them. Any thoughts just on that? I mean, this is by far, like, I think last year it was mid-October the first coach was fired. Wow. This is over a month ahead of schedule compared to last year, at least.
Just
It was different when the donors are shelling out money for the players, especially at UCLA.
right.
They pulled up all their money to get Nico, and now you're are they 0-3?
Yeah, and a bunch of transfers, and they had a wave of decommitments over the
Yes.
weekend, at like 10 plus at least.
Yeah.
Blue chippers too.
Yeah,
Good players.
It's actually, I was just thinking about this after the Broncos game. It's similar to the thought that I had, which is fans are crashing out way harder than ever before because of betting.
True.
When people have money on the game and then their team loses on top of it, they're twice as angry. And now you're drunk and angry and you lost money. I just noticed that over the last 5 years or so, fans are so much more mad after their team loses.
Makes sense.
So it's the same. It's elevated when you're putting hundreds of thousands into the roster or even millions, and then the teams are losing. So that's why I think you're seeing quick triggers on these coaches.
Yeah.
Y'all remember the clip of Deshaun Foster at Big Ten Media Days last year?
Oh my God, bro! I watched it again.
That
This week.
resurfaced this week.
He was done before he ever started.
He was like, damn. Like sometimes you gotta follow the signs. And like I said, last couple weeks, first impressions are everything. And if that was your first impression as a UCLA Maroon fan of Deshaun Foster, you are probably not surprised by the fact that he's fired less than 2 full seasons later.
Somehow it was worse.
Watching it this weekend, I was like, damn, this is kind of worse than I remember it even.
I think the first time around, I was just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And now, like, knowing what happened, I was like, man, this seems even more fucked up. The only thing he said about UCLA is that they share LA with USC.
Like, why even mention USC?
Never
Like,
say, like,
it's like, bro,
never
you-
mention my rival
like
as
you,
my head coach.
you couldn't think about nothing to say about your football team, bro. Like, you couldn't think of nothing in that moment.
Guys probably don't know us. We're in LA. It's us in USC. And then just long silence.
I was like, damn, man.
The Deshaun Foster era ends 5-10 in 15 games. Brent Pry in 40 games at West Virginia, 16-24. Only one winning season back in 2023. That did end with a bowl win, though. But Last year, a loss in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. They have some talent too, man. Bashal
Tech, right?
Tootin.
Yeah.
Huh?
You talking about Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Bashal Tootin's out there balling for the Jags. I still do believe in Kyron Drones. I see the flashes every now and then. And didn't they have Jalen Lane too? Like they had a bunch of guys at that
receiver.
School. So yeah. We'll see though. And keep an eye after this weekend for those guys, players on those teams to redshirt too. Any other takeaways from games over the weekend? We talked a little bit about the Big 12, K-State, Arizona, Utah, West Virginia yesterday. Anything else? Travis in the NFL. LeJontay almost broke a punt return. Whatever you guys want.
Can I circle back to Kaidon?
Sure, go for it.
This is a kind of a cool moment for him, I think. Probably not a fun 2 weeks for him after, coming here, winning the starting job, having a tough loss against Georgia Tech, and then, everything that happened against Delaware, and then having to watch that happen to your team against Texas Tech. But I'm hoping that the people in his corner were telling him, like, hey, your time will come back around.
Yeah.
And it's got to be one hell of a relief for him, assuming that he's going to be the quarterback this week. Got to be one hell of a relief for him that opportunity has already come back around. And I just have a good feeling that he is not going to take that lightly. And, a lot of guys will get like injured and they'll say, man, I never knew how much I, loved being out there with the guys until I wasn't there. Yeah. It's kind of a similar situation here where he's going to be like, I'm not letting this happen again. Nope. And I'm excited for him for that.
And I think he talked about it on the coaches show with Mark Johnson after week 1, where he was like, listen, I've been dealing with adversity my entire life, my entire football playing career. And I think this is just another bout of adversity that he can certainly overcome. And I think you're right, RK. I think he might look back on this some point down the line as maybe a silver lining or a turning point in his football career, at least in this season. Maybe he needed to take a step back, or maybe not needed to, but that it helped him to take a step back and not be on the field and watch this team from the sideline from a different lens. And I think he's going to come out on the other side of it even better than what we saw in week 1 and beginning even of week 2.
And maybe he saw that they needed a more fiery leader, and we'll bring a little, just bark a little more out there.
I'm sure he might have just learned even the smallest of things from just watching Staub the last couple of weeks. And I think if he can just take even just some small things, maybe it'd be leadership, maybe you're just being the rapport throughout the week with Pat Shurmur, right? In terms of saying, look, this is what I want. This is what I want called. I want this called at this point in time. On third down, these are the calls I like. On second and long, these are the calls I like. And hopefully, I think if Kaidon does that, I think we'll see a better product.
I want to talk about Travis Hunter. If you guys didn't watch the Jags game, they can't figure this out with him. I don't know. They're just hardly putting him on the field anymore.
I feel like he was out there quite a bit.
Now it's mostly on defense. Like last week, it was mostly offense.
This goes back to what Scotty said, though. I think it's going to be matchup based week to week. You're going up against the Bengals. They've got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so you need him more on the other side.
He did a good job too.
But then when the Bengals when the Jaguars on the 5-yard line, goal to go, and they're throwing the ball at Diami Brown and the ball goes right through his hands.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, he's getting out-snapped by him, out-snapped by Parker Washington. It's crazy.
On offense or total?
Well, just they're just using offense. They're not using Travis in situations to me that scream that's Travis's that's where he excels. Come on, red zone, 5 yards to go. You can't put him out there for 3 snaps. Throw one pass at him just to see what happens. But honestly, this might be more of a Trevor Lawrence thing than anything, because Brian Thomas Jr.'s stats have gone way down so far too.
He did not put a good effort out there on Sunday.
I know that was ugly too, but
that was wild.
Even in week 1, Trevor just straight up missed Travis on the pick. He was targeting Travis, just threw it right to the guy. It's like he didn't know the guy was there.
It was an unbelievable individual effort.
Yeah, but I mean, Travis is screaming across the field, and the only guy who can make the play is the guy in front of him, and you threw it right to him.
Yes, he threw it in his vicinity.
It was picked off.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence. You want to talk about a guy who hasn't lived up to expectations.
You see the interaction between him and Cohen
during
the game?
That's what I'm saying. There's some weird stuff going on over there, man.
Do you imagine if that was No, I didn't gotta say it.
It's weird because of what, like every time I watch, I see Trevor Lawrence do something. I'm like, okay, there it is. And then like 2 plays later, he does something that makes him look like, I was going to say Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones just cooked my team. So I can't say that.
I don't know. I just, and we're dealing with this issue too. You have Travis Hunter. It should be way easier to be scheming him up, finding ways to get him involved, especially when you're in the red zone and you're throwing it in there 3 times in a row.
And then
one of those has to go to him, bro.
Travis made a game-winning play.
That's where I was.
Yes, he did.
That was my biggest takeaway from the game. He got absolutely jobbed by that call at the end. That was not PI. That was teach tape coverage, and that was so lame.
It reminded me very much of his coverage on Kobe Hudson in the UCF game where he almost had an insane pick.
Oh yeah,
but it's just
where he tipped it up in the air. Yeah, for sure.
Brutal. He got robbed, and honestly,
Crazy.
that should have won them the game.
That should have won them the game.
So the transfer portal changes tomorrow. They are going to vote on this one-time transfer portal in January. Pete Nako says he says the expectation is that it will be ratified. So we'll wait and see tomorrow. Jed Fish did come out against it.
Good,
arguing your point pretty much.
That's how I feel about it. A lot of people, when we talk about it on the show, people very much didn't agree with me, but that's just how I feel. I'm pro player empowerment. Well, and that's just how I feel. That's not what he was saying. Well, I don't know what Jed Fish was saying because this is the first time I'm hearing about it when you say it, but that's just how I feel about it.
All right, let's go to the chat. First up today, we got a super chat from TCPE. Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing?
Okay.
Going back to the Shador, where everybody's Super Bowl comment, it reminds me of something that Von Miller actually did, and I've talked to him since about kind of the motive for this. The Broncos were struggling. It was one of the down years. They were going Thursday Night Football against the Arizona Cardinals, and he went on the podium and just said, "We're going to beat their ass." And what that did was give him the ability to go back into the locker room and say, I just said we're going to beat their ass. You guys going to make me look stupid or are you going to make me look smart? Wow. And put all of the onus on his teammates to back him up. And I feel like that was something that the team all had going for them over the last, especially last season. Shador was not afraid to put the pressure on us.
We're going to go pop it.
Sure. And I love that. I feel like that would be you're probably not going to do it this week against Wyoming, but
hell yeah,
something to fire the team up and be like, hey, we all have to rally together to back up our guy here.
You know who else that just made me think of? Tommy Castellanos.
Yes, great.
Pretty much what he did.
And boy, did I read that wrong. But his teammates got the message
for sure. And now they're a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah,
with
and Alabama
for more.
Doesn't look like it. As bad as it did for them off rip.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Warren G with the super chat. Coach Prime needs to back a quarterback and stick with them. We found out that adage, if you have 2 QBs and you have none, is popular for a reason.
What if you have 3?
You'll have to make that one up. Thank you, Warren. Michael.
Shout out
Salute
Michael
to the squad and DNVR team for keeping it 100.
Sheesh.
And I must say, I do miss the road trips on the bus. Appreciate you for the $50 super chat.
Appreciate you.
We miss it too.
For real.
Yes. MC says, need a coach on the field with the quarterback. I can't really add anything there. Thank you for the super chat, though, MC. Thomas, what's up? $20. Appreciate you. Haven't heard it in a while, but it seems prevalent. Don't sweat on the escalator. Have faith in Coach Prime and the staff and the players. We will get through it together. Sco Buffs, baby. Plus Pat will make his own bed soon enough. Facts. And then another one, $1.99 from Thomas.
Bell Beefer.
Hashtag Bell Beefer.
Bring it back.
All right. That's it. We will be back tomorrow. We've got Coach Bartoloni, Zach Atkins, and you remember the third?
Nope.
Someone else.
Vibes are going up tomorrow.
Yes.
Just telling you guys right now. We're leaving the past in the past, starting on hump day.
We're on to Wyoming. See you guys tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.